again, we can start with a short mindful breathing exercise, followed by cultivating good intentions. Try to keep your back straight and make yourself relaxed, comfortable. And feel the weight of your body on cushions, on chair. And observe the breath mindfully as you inhale and exhale normally. Once your mind has been settled down, then we can think. May I ask, coming together to listen and to engage in discussion and reflect and contemplating. May all of this become cause and conditions to have that imprint in our mind and understanding of the true truth. May it be cause and conditions to cultivate, develop the wisdom realizing the true truth, as well as the compassion, the bodhicitta mind. Through having cultivated the wisdom and compassion, may we be able to help, benefit more and more sentient beings. May we always be helpful and beneficial to others. And even when we are not being able to help and be benefit, may we never harm and hurt others knowingly, intentionally. And may our act of listening and so forth become cause and condition to achieve our highest potential, the fully awakened state. So we can fulfill higher purpose of self and all other sentient beings. Okay, then refuge in bodhicitta prayer. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sutras. By the merits of prayer to listen to the Dhamma, I am become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye Shuram Soge Chonam La Chanchu Padu Dani Kapsushi Dagi Shushe Kebe Sonam Ki Rola Benje Sange Rupa Sho Sange Shuram Soge Chonam La Chanchu Padu Dani Kapsushi Dagi Shushe Kebe Sonam Ki Rola Benje Sange Rupa Sho Kange Dujene Rone, Tawadam Jepon Bese, Tabe Suni Tunjebe, Godam De La Chansa Lo. So, good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming, joining today. The topic of as you know, of the subjects for today and tomorrow is the true truth. The true truth are, very important to understand in order to understand the Four Truth better, and as well as the whole path of the path better, and especially in Mahayana and Madhyamika in the middle way school, they pay much emphasis on the true truth. So before, in those Madhyamikas such as Nagarjuna, Chandrakiri and so forth, their presentations of the true truth and understanding is based on some of the sutras, and so I thought maybe I might read a little bit of that, can be helpful. In the sutra of, the meeting of father and son, where it is mentioned, Tathagata's understand or realize the conventional truth and ultimate truth, those two truths. And also the knowledge of object of knowledge are also two only. The object of knowledge or to know is the conventional and ultimate truth. In the Tathagata Bhagavan, understand the emptiness, understand greatly, understand completely, therefore is the omniscient. In that sutra, okay? And then there it says the conventional is that Tathagata sees, or the conventional is the object of the ordinary beings, and ultimate is unexpressible, cannot be known, cannot be understood, cannot be completely understood. So that is in that sutta it says about those two truths. And again, we will come later, but when here it says, the ultimate truth, the emptiness cannot be expressless. The way it can be experienced directly with a direct perception cannot be expressed by word, fully. In the same way, the way that ultimate reality or truth is experienced by direct perception cannot be understood or known by conceptual thoughts, conceptual minds. So that is what it means. And then also in that same sutras, it mentions, the wise one of the old, you understood the true truth by yourself, by your own power, without having to learn from others. In other sutras, Lodi Misebedo, that is the part of the third turning of the wheel of Dharma. There is true truth, the conventional and ultimate truth. There is no third truth. And there are two truths. What are those two truths? Is the conventional truth, ultimate truth. The conventional truth is presenting in the time, such as this is the truth of suffering, this is the truth of origination, this is the truth of cessation, this is the truth of the path, all the conventional truth, the letters, the sounds, and all others, that is explained through the terms and the words. And what is the ultimate truth? Again, similar like the previous ones, of course in a different sutra, but it is same. It is something that cannot be expressed. It's something beyond the sorrow. Why is that? Because it is the suchness of phenomena all the time. Is always same all the time. The nature of that ultimate truth or reality is, unchanging. And for bodhisattvas, by having shown the relative truth, they don't get discouraged. They don't get discouraged because they understand the ultimate truth directly. Also, they don't fall, and they will help to ripen the sentient beings. And such is the bodhisattvas who are wise or expert on the truth. The Buddha said there are two divisions of the truth, relative and conventional. Conventional truth is the truth of ordinary, and ultimate truth is beyond the ordinary. So there are many references that you find in sutras, different sutras. These all are in different sutras about Buddha explaining about two truths. Based on those, then the Nalenda's masters, the great Nalanda masters, scholars, especially the Madhyamikas, then their presentations of the basis is based on those two truths, and they emphasize very much on those truths. They present from the foundation those two truths. In similar, on the base of that, then Nagarjuna in his fundamental treatise or the root of the wisdom, he said, whatever Buddha's taught, whatever teaching Buddha gave, they all are founded on the true truth. And those are the conventional truth and ultimate truth. Whoever do not understand those two division of the true truth, they do not understand the profound suchness that Buddha taught. And then there is no way to present the ultimate truth without depending on the presentation of conventional truth. And without understanding the ultimate truth, there is no way one can achieve liberations. So Nagarjuna made clear as the importance of understanding the ultimate truth in order to free from the samsara, from the sorrow and the sufferings. And in order to understand ultimate truth correctly, also one needs to understand the conventional reality of the truth. Without understanding the conventional reality correctly, one cannot have an understanding of ultimate truth correctly. Without understanding of ultimate truth correctly, also one wouldn't have understanding of conventional truth correctly. And in order to understand correctly each of them, it depends on the others to understand correctly. So therefore, the understanding of conventional relative truth is important as the understanding of ultimate reality is important. Sometimes we think ultimate reality is something that we need to understand, but conventional reality is something that it feels like maybe it's not as so important. Similarly, one of the great Nalanda masters, Leben Shinyingbo, also he said, whoever understand the true truth, that person is not ignorant to the Buddha's teachings. And since they are not ignorant to the Buddha's teachings, then they will continue to accumulate merits. And through that, then one will reach the state beyond the state of perfections. So again, here, emphasize the understand true truth, and especially conventional truth. If you understand the conventional truth, then you will engage into the practice, such as you understand the importance of practical generosity, moral discipline, patience, meditative concentration, and all of that. And one will engage in all these other practices, not just focus just the wisdom, but other practices. And through having focus in both wisdom and other practices, then one will be able to achieve the highest state of perfection, fully enlightened state. Also, Chandrakiri say, similarly, the conventional truth is the method, and the ultimate truth is that arise from that method. And whoever do not understand those two, will be lead in the wrong directions by the ignorance. So I just wanted to kind of touch a little bit on that, just to give where those teachings come from, and the importance those masters paid. the importance they pay on understanding true truth. Also, the purpose of the Mahayana practitioners, those who are bodhisattvas or those who are inclined to bodhisattva's path. Even maybe we are not bodhisattva, but we have the interest and inclinations towards that path, inspirations towards those paths. For those, then the ultimate goal is to achieve fully awakened state, fully enlightened state, so that we can be greatest benefit to all sentient beings, including oneself. And in order to be greatest benefit and to fulfill others' highest purpose or one's purpose, then one needs to achieve the union of the two kayas, the two bodies, of Dharmakaya and Rupakaya. Dharmakaya fulfills one's perfect purpose, highest purpose, and through the Rupakaya, then it fulfills others' highest purpose. So through that wisdom Dharmakaya, then one is able to eliminate all the obscurations and to able to achieve all the highest positive qualities, inner qualities. And by having purified all the obscurations that need to be purified, that need to be eliminated, so there is nothing to be eliminated, and having achieved all the inner quality that need to be achieved, there is no more to achieve anything. There is no more to abandon anything, there is no more to achieve anything. And through that, then one is able to fulfill one's higher purpose. Through that, in order to fulfill others' purpose, the way the bodhisattvas, the Buddhas, the way they help and benefit others in a high level is by showing them the path, how to eliminate their own afflictive emotions, how to actualize those inner positive qualities within themselves. That is what their focus, because that is, those afflictive emotions, because are the root of all the sufferings. Unless one is able to free from that, even no matter how much we try to help, it's only temporary help. It's never ending help. But if you can help them to overcome their own afflictive emotions, delusions, then you have been able to help them permanently not to suffer anymore. And same, even though we can help to provide temporary relief here and there, but again, temporary relief for one day, for 1 week, 1 month. We help to relieve one problem, another problem arises. We try to help that relief, another problem arises. There's no end. And in terms of happiness, even we try to help them to have certain level of happiness, joy, but again, those are temporary. It's gone. You can make them happy for 1 second, or maybe a few minutes, few days, but again, but if we can help them to achieve those inner positive qualities, then they can find permanent happiness. Once they find permanent happiness, and therefore that is the main focus of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of helping with sentient beings. And the way to help is by showing the path. And in order to show the path, since the sentient beings cannot have access to Dharmakaya wisdom directly, so then the Buddha manifests in Rupakaya, the form bodies. Through the form bodies, the Rupakaya, Rupa means form, manifesting in different forms, and through that manifestation, then they teach, guide, and show the path how to do that. And that is the how to be help and benefit to others. As in one of the sutra, Buddha himself said, I cannot relieve your pain and suffering, just like if you are being pricked by some kind of thorn. If you take away thorn, then you are being relieved of that pain from that thorn. I cannot take away your suffering like that. I cannot wash your own negativities, negative karma and so forth, just as I can help you to take a bath and, help clean the physical strains. Nor I can transfer my realizations to you, just as we might be able to pass my cup to you, or but then how can I help you? I can help you by showing the path to freedom from the samsara and the suffering and the cause of the suffering, the delusions. That is how I can help you. That's what Buddha said, that is how I can help you. And so Buddha said, I can only show you the path, whether you are able to free from the samsara or not and achieve liberation or not, now is in your hand. It's like, it give you an example. It is, the doctor can diagnose your problems, illness correctly, and they might be able to prescribe the right medication. But if you don't take the medicine, then there's nothing the doctor can do. They have diagnosed the exact problem, they have prescribed the exact cure medications, but for some reason, if you do not take those medicine, those cure, then you cannot cure. In the same way, Buddha understood was able to diagnose what the root of our problem, our suffering, pain, and he prescribed right medication, right practice, path. And so now whether you are able to free from that and cure from that, it depends on yourself, whether you actually practice or not. And that is what Buddha says. So that is where I'm coming. In order to be benefit to oneself and others, in order to fulfill the higher purpose of oneself and others, one needs to achieve those two kayas, the union of two kayas. In order to achieve those two kayas, then you need to create the right cause and conditions to achieve those two kayas. And that is the wisdom and the method. That is the wisdom and the method. The wisdom, the practice of wisdom, the path of the wisdom is the cause of Dharmakaya wisdom. And the practice of, the method, the merit and the method is the cause of Rupakaya. Without those two causes, one cannot achieve the union of two bodies. If one of them is missing, then you cannot achieve. You need the both. And in order to practice the method and the wisdom and perfect and complete those practice, then it depends on the basis, the two truth. Conventional truth and ultimate truth. So therefore, that is why on the very basis, there is two truth, conventional and ultimate truth. On the base on that, then there is the path, of the method through the conventional truth, depend on conventional truth, and the wisdom that is related and dependent on the ultimate truth. And because of the path of method and wisdom, then there is the two body. And because there are two body, then one is able to fulfill the higher purpose of others in oneself. So that is also why giving such much, the two truths are given such an importance. The term of two truth, is term that has been used by all the Buddhist school of thought, but especially the Madhyamikas. Especially Madhyamika emphasizes very much on presentation on the base on two truths. It's very much so there are four school of thoughts, and each presentation of true truth get more and more refined and more subtle. And so all of those schools present the true truth. Each of them have presentation of their true truth. But when we study, then we can see how each of those true truth presentation, each of them get more and more kind of refined and more subtle. So how understanding of earlier truth help to the understanding or presentation of true truth, the next school of thoughts. According to the Vaibhasika school of thought, their presentation of relative and ultimate or absolute truth is, anything that can be destroyed by smashing, for example, smashing the pot by the hammers, So in sense where you can kind of break into pieces and parts, in terms of physical matters, then you can kind of break, or you can dissect into smaller and more parts and like that. Anything that can be done are relative truth. For non-physical, in terms of mind, consciousness, even though we cannot destroy and kind of break into pieces and parts, but mentally, you can break down from moment to moment, that moment into more part of the moment and parts in that way. And so those are known as the relative. And then whether it's a physical physical matter where it comes so small that you cannot break any more into two pieces. You cannot break any more into two pieces. You cannot smash into more pieces anymore. So they call partless particles. That one's the ultimate. And that one's the basis for all others. That partless particles, is the basis for all other growth, mass, and so that is the ultimate or absolute. And same with consciousness. The consciousness can be breaking to a moment by moment in a small moment, and then it comes to a point where it's so small, the moment is so small, you cannot break into it anymore, more than one moment anymore. You cannot dissect it, say, oh, there's two moments from there. And that is partless consciousness. And that one is again ultimate. And then all other moments of consciousness, feeling, emotions, whatever that comes from coming together, many of those moments is the relative. So, without going much detail, that is more or less a little bit of presentation. And the next school of thought, the school of the Sutra, Sotandhara, all the impermanent phenomena, all the conditioned phenomena, that has their own unique functionings, ultimate unique functionings, are known as the relative. Whereas all phenomena, who doesn't have same functionings like those, the ultimate functioning, just like those impermanent or conditional phenomena, such as the, permanent phenomena, then they are presented as the absolute, the absolute, the unchanging, permanent phenomena, and that doesn't have, same functioning like a unique individual functioning with others, impermanent phenomena, which does not have that, then those are ultimate reality. And both of them, accepts inherent existence. And then mind only schools. Mind is only three schools. Their presentation is mostly from more than two truths. They present mostly from three phenomena mostly. But of course, when those, then they can be also, in terms of Shawan, dependent natures, imputed nature, and the perfect natures phenomena. So those are three phenomena. The perfect nature phenomena is the emptiness, and the dependent nature phenomena are those, relative objects. And then imputed is that, dualistic, imputed by your mind, the subject and objects. The object that our mind impute, the ignorance impute to exist, as though there is, external object separate from the mind, that objects. So their presentations mainly from theory, but when you kind of summarize, then the pure or perfect natural phenomena, the emptiness is the ultimate truth. Then other two are the conventional truth. And then the Madhyamikas. And so maybe we will focus more on the Madhyamikas, the true truth. Can there be three truth? Third truth? No. Are you sure? One of my friend's grandfathers told him there is a third truth.
Is it a secret?
Yeah, because otherwise you become enlightened immediately like this. If you understand the third truth, it's like this quick path, so it has to be secret. No, it just reminds me, a friend, just one of our just casual talk. I don't know how we started, but once his father told him, sometimes we said, two truth, their truth, my truth. In every situations, every situations, there's two truth. The other say it is true, and we say it is true, there's two truth. And his grandfather told him, there's a third truth, neither yours or the others. Both of you could be wrong, and your truth is not truth, and the other person's truth is not true, but there is a third truth. So anyway, but even though it's not exactly we are talking about that truth, but it has a good point, the wise wisdom of the grandpa. Yeah, in this case, there's no truth, Any existence which is not ultimate truth is conventional truth. Any existence which is not conventional truth is ultimate truth. So therefore, there is no other third truth. So the two truths are, conventional or relative truth, and then ultimate or absolute truth. Okay. Then we will talk a little bit more, conventional truth is described, existence, that is the objects or conventional valid cognizers. And then the ultimate truth is the existence, that is the objects of ultimate violet cognizers. And ultimate violet cognizer is the wisdom that perceives ultimate truth or emptiness directly. Okay? So the object of the wisdom that realizes emptiness directly is known as ultimate truth. And we'll talk a little bit more why is ultimate truth. Whereas conventional violet cognizer is, our violet cognizer that, perceive this flower as a flower, that sound as a sound, that smell as that smell, whatever, or different violet cognizer that perceive different. So those perceive those objects directly, and that objects of my eye consciousness that perceive this flower directly, that is the violet as a flower, that's a violet cognizers, and the object of that is the flower, and that flower is the conventional reality. Just like truth also, there could be two violet cognizers, The violet cognizer that perceive ultimate truth and the violet cognizer that perceive conventional relative truth, an object of each of them is those truth. So then, first maybe we talk a little bit of conventional truth. Conventional truth, involve around what we experience every day, throughout the day, It involves all our day-to-day experience. It is involve our understanding, the phenomenal appearances, how phenomena arises or appears due to many causes and conditions, and through the appearance of those, or arising or appearing of different phenomena, different objects, things, due to many causes and conditions, how each of them functions, different phenomena arises or being produced or come into existence by depending on multiple different causes and conditions. Not only due to depending on many multiple causes and conditions, certain phenomena come into existence or arise or being produced. Each of those objects has its own individual different functionings. They have their own different functions, and due to different functionings of those objects, then it leads to different result, different effect. Some lead to unpleasant experience, some lead to pleasant experience, some lead to neutral experiences. Some of them hurts you or others, some of them helps you and others, some of them is so different effect we receive or others receive from those functioning of different objects. And so those are part of the conventional world, conventional phenomena, conventional truth or reality. And part of those conventional realities, is of course not only the physical world, but also the mental world of our senses and mental perceptions or mental consciousness as well, which also the valid cognizers also are part of that. And those are important because those valid cognizers distinguish conventional truth, conventional false. Which is very important. If we don't have that valid cognizer that can distinguish what is conventional truth, what is conventional false, then we will not be able to distinguish between snake and rope. If we cannot make difference between snake and rope, then consequences of that can be deadly. Not being able to distinguish that, and then you think, oh, this is a rope, and you grab it, and that can be deadly. And what makes us be able to distinguish that is that conventional reality, that conventional relative, that conventional phenomena, such as that the conventional valid cognizers. If there is no conventional reality, if it's only ultimate reality, then the ultimate wisdom that realizes ultimate reality does not distinguish those things. Is the conventional valid cognizer that is not the ultimate valid cognizers that distinguish those objects. The valid cognizer that perceives the ultimate truth directly, the emptiness directly, that see all phenomena in one taste, same. See all same, equal, one taste. There's no distinguishing of, in that mind, or with that mind, there's no distinguishing of, subject and objects, good and bad, you and me, snake and rope, snake versus rope, rope versus snakes, all of that. What it perceives, what it distinguishes, that all those objects or all these phenomena are empty of inherent existence. That's all. So therefore, the conventional reality and understanding conventional reality is key for our functioning in our worldly world. And it is that conventional reality, and especially that valid cognizers, that is able to distinguish all these different conventional truth and conventional falses, that kind of direct our everyday life. That is what direct our everyday life, When I say fire, that I shouldn't be too close. I have to be a little far away. With that, being able to understand there is a fire, and that the fire burns. And with that understanding, to keep it your distance so that you don't get burned. What makes that has is your conventional valid cognizers. Oh, I shouldn't engage in such actions. If I engage in these actions, it will bring me pain, suffering. It will hurt and harm someone else. The mind that is able to see that, understand that it is that kind of action, that kind of behavior could or will harm and hurt others, bring pain to others. It could bring or will bring harm and hurt to yourself. With that understanding, and through such understanding, then we refrain or restrain from engaging in such actions. What drives us all these kind of behavior, contact actions, from engaging in any kind of harmful actions, is these valid cognizers that perceive the conventional reality. Is that conventional? It's not the ultimate valid cognizer that does that. Are we clear? Yeah? So it is what helps us from harming others in that way, what helps us to protect ourselves and protect others from our certain behavior and actions, is that the ability to see, such action bring harms and pain, and not wanting to bring pain and sufferings. And that is those understandings, that awareness, that understanding is a conventional valid cognizers. Conventional valid cognizers. Also with that, we can understand the importance of that, how important valid cognizer is. Conventional valid cognizers. Because sometimes we think, I should just develop the ultimate valid cognizer, because that seems to be the case. We hear the ultimate, anything that sounds like ultimate, that is it, And so we think this is what I need to get. And we might be so, might not pay as much attention to relative or conventional realities or truth and correct understanding of that and all of that. But when we actually try to analyze in our everyday day-to life, in our functionings and our actions, is the valid cognizer or conventional world that direct our life. Whether we end up creating more negative karma, whether we end up creating more positive karma, through those understandings. But also conventional phenomena or conventional or relative phenomena. Truth is also deceptive. Deceptive in a sense, the appearance that it gives to the mind that perceives it directly, does not concord with the way it exists, the mode of existence. To the violet cognizers which perceive those objects, it appears inherent existing, that object as appearing inherent existence. But in reality, those objects are empty of inherent existence. The way they really are, or the way the mode of existence is empty of inherent existence, but to those mind it appears as inherent existence, and therefore in that way it is deceptive. Then of course, in order to understand how is deceptive, how that appearance of truly existence is deceptive, to understand that, then you need to have better understanding the ultimate reality. If you don't have that better understanding of the ultimate reality, you wouldn't know it is a deceptive. If you don't understand the mode of existing, what's the way thing exists, what's the mode of existence? If we don't understand that, then we wouldn't know that appearance is a deceptive or not deceptive. And so that is why I was telling at the very beginning how each of those understanding will help each other. And without understanding one of them fully, you cannot have an understanding of others. Not only in understanding, also in terms of practice, that one cannot ignore one of them. That those, one need to integrate both relative and conventional truth together, even in the practice. Maybe we will discuss more. The ultimate truth and conventional truth are, I guess it might be okay to say that it's like two sides of the one coin. Basically, both of them they don't contradict each other, but they actually complement each other. They actually support each other. Because of relative truth, there's ultimate truth. Because of ultimate truth, there's a relative truth. Without relative truth, there can't be ultimate truth. Without ultimate truth, there can't be relative truth. They're mutually dependent arisings. They mutually support each other, complement each other, in terms of their existence as well as in terms of understanding. Your understanding of conventional reality shouldn't contradict your understanding of ultimate reality. Your understanding of ultimate truth shouldn't contradict your understanding of conventional reality, but instead it should complement and support each other if it is a correct understanding. So, when we talk about the head of the coin, we are still talking about the coin. You get to know the coin better. And then when you talk about the tail, head head and tail, the other side, you are still talking about that coin. You get to know the better of that coin. You know, it doesn't contradict understanding each other's side, but actually it helps to. And I like to say, you know, conventional reality is understanding of the objects or the phenomena, how it exists. Okay? Ultimate truth is same how the nature, how it do not exist. I can talk about this paper, what it is and what it is not. But I'm still talking about this paper, the nature of this paper. It is two ways of looking at it. One way of looking at it is what it is not. One way of looking at what it is. And when you understand what it is not and what it is, you have better understanding of the object as better whole. Maybe if we give example of the being, maybe that might be even better. Another human beings, you know, who he or she is and who he or she is not, you know. So when we understand both who he or she is, how he or she is, and who he or she is not, how he or she is not, we will have a better picture of that person's. And better pictures and less chance of being misled and being deceived. And same, you know, when we try to understand the reality of any objects, you know, we try to see the both reality within that objects. And maybe we can talk a little bit more, maybe tomorrow. So conventional reality is sometimes, you know, in scripture the appearance is the conventional reality. In terms of appearance, as I mentioned before, you know, it is due to coming together of multiple cause and conditions. Certain objects appear, certain objects come into existence or being produced or arise, and it has certain functionings. That is the conventional reality. And that is the fact of that object. That's the reality of that object. That's the nature of that object. And as it was mentioned in the sutras that I kind of read, you know, such as that the truth of sufferings, truth of origination, truth of path, they all are part of the conventional realities. Without conventional realities, all this would not be possible. You know, all this diversity, you know. There are certain cause and conditions. Due to certain cause and conditions, there is certain result, which is sufferings, different kind of sufferings, different, you know, And those different sufferings are a result of different negative actions or karmas, you know. Different contaminated experience, different contaminated, pleasant experiences are a result of different contaminated virtuous actions. Different contaminated virtuous action produce different contaminated positive experiences. So again, all this, so many different diversity or different things. All these are conventional reality. As I mentioned, in ultimate reality, all in one test, in all in one. There is no diversity. So when the true truth comes, then there is a diversity, at the same time it's one. While there is one, at the same time there is a diversity. It's such a wonderful. But when there is only ultimate truth, then there is only oneness. There is no diversity. When there is only conventional truth, there is only diversity but not oneness. But when you have that, then when they come together, it's two paradox together. While there is a diversity, at the same time there is oneness. While there is a oneness, at the same time there is a diversity. Living together. Existing simultaneously. At the same time, without conflicting. The potential. Yeah. At the moment, the problem we have in the world is that, not being able to find those simultaneously. Isn't that is big struggles. Where you could have diversity at the same time, oneness. While you have oneness, at the same time, there is diversity without conflicting. So anyway, I think we don't have so much time, but I can take one or two questions. Yes, please.
Geshe, I have a question. Going back to the three truths, your truth and my truth. So with a conventional valid cognizer, how can you tell who's valid if your truth and my truth, we're looking at the same object and we see differently? What's valid?
It's always mine is true. You didn't know that? That was quite silly questions. Yes. Absolutely, mine is always the right one. How can the other ones be correct and right? So that is as simple. We all know that. No, in that kind of, I think we might have to talk that from different point of the being and karma, in some cases, both can be true. Not only both, three can be true, four can be true, four. In some cases, it's not true. It's not widely recognized. So it depends. One of the classical examples that is given is, when you look at this liquid full of this in this cup, for certain beings, human beings, we see as a water. We experience as a water. That is conventional reality for us. But another beings experience due to their karma and other condition, they see as a blood pass. They experience as it. It's not like they just see it and then if they try to drink it, it becomes water. It's not kind of some hallucination, sometimes with hallucination you can see something else, but actually when you do it, it's nothing to do with hallucination. But to them, that is real. That is what they experience. To some, they see as different, again, something like nectar. They experience as that. So conventionally, who's right, they all see differently, they experience differently, which is correct, and all of them are correct in their own existence. Within the human existence, maybe if someone sees as a blood, maybe that might be maybe not widely recognized as, within that existence. But with another beings with a different karma and other conditions, then so it depends on that kind of situations, I guess, whereas if maybe I had some kind of the wild mushroom or honey, and then I see something as a blood. I see the blood, I might be afraid, whatever, but that is not widely recognized. That is hallucinated. That's mistaken mind. It's not widely recognized. So yeah.
So it's water.
So water in our existence, yes, to us human beings is the water. Yes, please.
You mentioned earlier tonight that ultimate truth highlights the deceptive nature of conventional truth. And I was just wondering, what does the
highlight
show, reveal?
Highlight, I don't know whether that, again, I don't know. What I said is, in order to understand that is deceptive, that appearance is a deceptive, we need to have some understanding of the emptiness. Without understanding emptiness, it's hard to know that it's a deceptive. Because when we analyze the reality, the ultimate reality of the objects through ultimate analysis, and through such ultimate analysis, when we find that thing do not exist inherently, and when you have understanding of that thing do not exist inherently, then that is when you have an understanding of ultimate reality, and that understanding then helps you, this appearance is mistaken, even though that is not how thing exists, but there is that appearance. So ultimate understanding of ultimate realization help to have a understanding of conventional reality of being deceptive. Yeah. And so, maybe we'll come maybe tomorrow. There is a discussion, to understand ultimate truth, you don't have to understand to understand ultimate conventional truth, you don't have to understand ultimate truth. But in order to understand something as existing conventionally, then you have to have understanding of ultimate truth. And there is a slightly difference. So when you understand something as conventionally existing truth, then you understand it as something false. You understand something false, or deceptive, then to understand that as something as a false deceptive, then you need to have understanding what is the real, you know. And so in order to understand what's the real existence, then that is where the ultimate reality comes. Okay?